So why do we do red cedar stew? Well, it's kind of like this. First of all, you can't go wrong if you have some great big pot of boiling really good stuff all together that kind of fits, but comes from all sorts of other places and just really works out well together, which is kind of like us. A lot of us come from lots of different places in the world, and we bring all of our spices and our sassiness and our intelligence and our questions and all sorts of other things and our talents with us, and we come together and share them in a very harmonious way. Harmonious means works well together. But let's think about the stew for a second. So there was this recipe that I saw, and it would make this really kind of neat soup or stew, and the only thing about it was that it was kind of boring because it didn't have certain kinds of spices and vegetables in it, and I didn't even realize that. I didn't know that you could make it better if you put other things in it, things that I'd never heard of, like boniato. I didn't even know what that was. I saw it in the grocery store, but I never paid any attention. And I really should have. And then I talked to some people who were from countries where they had that kind of vegetable all of the time and said, oh yes, oh you should really try it. It's a root vegetable, which means it grows in the ground. You don't see it up high. It's down low. You have to dig for it, like potatoes. So we put that into the stew, into the little recipe of the stew, and it added something. And then I talked to that friend and said, again, do you have any of those other vegetables that I don't know about that might be really good in that stew? And the person said, well, yes, I grew up in Guatemala and we had these other kinds of vegetables here. Let me introduce you to them. So she did, and they're fabulous. And they go along with the cilantro, and they go along with the carrots, and they go along with the celery, and they go along with everything else that is in the stew. So, because it reminded me of us, that we come from all sorts of different places, and we all add a little bit of spice, or a little bit of talent, or a little bit of playfulness, or a little bit of dance, or a little bit of music, or a little bit of technology, or a little bit of something to everybody else's life, wouldn't it be neat to have a stew that did kind of sort of the same thing? So that's how we came to do red cedar stew.